can't see me.
You have to be patient, Daryl. You have to be patient.
No, I mean, I'm not in the view there.
Trying to. Okay, there we go. Wait a minute. Now I had this set right. I've clearly moved it since I. That's better.
Too much. Ah, there we go.
That'll do.
Good morning, friends. We're dealing with technical difficulties.
I don't know. When it's human error, can you still call it technical difficulties?
Of course.
Okay.
I'll let you get away with that
Okay.
today.
Okay. Well, thank you. We'll blame it on the electrical stuff, not me.
Good morning, friends.
Give me a little riff. I have awakened in thy shelter, oh my God, and it becometh him that seeketh that shelter to abide within the sanctuary of thy protection and the stronghold of thy defense. Illumine my inner being, oh my Lord, with the splendors of the day spring of thy revelation, even as thou didst illumine my outer being with the morning light of thy favor. Illumine my inner being, oh my Lord, with the splendors of the day spring of thy revelation, even as thou didst illumine my outer being with the morning light of thy favor. I've awakened. Good morning, everyone. Hello, everyone in our Zoom feed there. How you doing? I see we've got Yuta. Hello, Yuta. Good morning. Feel free to unmute yourself and say hi, folks. It's not a mandate, but feel free to.
Good morning. I'm always too slow to open the.
Oh, well, good
Good
morning,
morning.
good morning, good morning. And I see we've got
Morning.
Pauline. Hi there, Pauline. How you doing? Oh, Susanna's saying good morning. No wonder you're not here.
No.
But we're glad you're here. You're here. You know, I mean, the technology allows you to be here
Yeah.
at least with us. Yes, yes. And who else wants to say hello? Anybody we know?
Hi, it's me, Pauline. Hi,
Yes,
Daryl. How
Good
you
it
morning,
doing?
is you,
Pauline.
Pauline.
How
Good
are
morning,
you?
Pauline. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay.
I
Okay.
see Gilbert's on this morning. We haven't
Yes,
seen him
Gilbert
in a
is on.
while.
Gilbert likes to remain anonymous, I think. But hey, Gilbert, how you doing? We're
Good
glad you're
morning.
here. And we see Terry. Hey, Terry, how are you?
Hello, Paul. Sorry I'm a little bit late, but I'm here.
Hello, Pa, but we're glad
Good.
you're here. And the
Um,
gentleman that was with us last week, whose name I can't remember, and said, please say hello and tell us your name again.
Hi everyone, Alaupa. My name's Nino.
Hi,
Ah,
Nino.
we're
Good
glad
morning.
you're here. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Pleasure to be here.
Yes. And someone else just popped on. What the heck is going on, man? Where are all these people
That's good.
coming from? We're glad.
Hello. Before we go on, since we have a new member, could
Yes.
we ask, is it Nino, if he wants to be contacted, please put his phone number in the chat.
Well, you heard that, Nino. If you would like to be contacted, well, he's probably saying, contacted for what?
Well, last week, he said he wanted to be contacted by other Baha'is. Since
Oh,
he's,
I
Yeah.
see what you're
since
saying.
he's a
Okay.
new Baha'i, that's what he said. Didn't he say that, Nino?
Yes, I did put my information last week, but I'll go ahead and put it this week as well.
Oh, yes, please, I missed it.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
And this is why we do what we do. At least one of the reasons. And hello to everyone out there in Facebook land. We're glad you're joining us. I got a little text from my sister, Amaze, I told you about earlier. They're
Yes.
having snow up there. And oh my goodness, I'm being blinded by the sun that's coming through the window here. But enjoy.
He's
Hopefully,
rubbing it in, folks.
yes, no matter where you are, we're glad you. Hopefully, we're glad that you're joining us, whether it's at the time that we're doing this program or at some other time. We're still glad that you hopefully find some value. And I know you have a prayer for us this morning,
Yes,
don't
I
you,
do.
Daryl? Yes.
Today's prayer is for humanity.
Okay.
O thou compassionate Lord, thou who art generous and able, we are servants of thine, sheltered beneath thy providence. Cast thy glance of favor upon us. Give light to our eyes, hearing to our ears, and understanding and love to our hearts. Render our souls joyous and happy through thy glad tidings. O Lord, point out to us the pathway of thy kingdom, and resuscitate all of us through the breaths of thy Holy Spirit. Bestow upon us life everlasting, and confer upon us never ending honor. Unify mankind and illumine the world of humanity. May we all follow thy pathway, long for thy good pleasure, and seek the mysteries of thy kingdom. O God, unite us and connect our hearts with thy indissoluble bond. Verily, thou art the giver, thou art the kind one, thou art the Almighty. Abdul Baha.
Thank you so much, Daryl. Thank you. Well, folks,
Welcome.
as you know, if you've been joining us in the past, whether it's recent or for a long time, what we do is we basically use a book of Baha'i writings or Baha'i commentary and writings to study the Word of God. Okay, and the book we are reading right now is Some Answered Questions by Abdul Baha. Some Answered Questions. And we're not too deep in the book yet, but we're getting there. Well, this book is going to take a while, but we're in chapter 11, right? And we are starting on what is it? Paragraph 23.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, if you don't have, I mean, all of the different editions don't always have numbered paragraphs, but we are in chapter 11. If you are in the edition that has numbered paragraphs, it's on page 77 that we are beginning. Daryl, but before you start reading, could you give us just a little context, or if you want me to, I can. But I just think that this is spiritual current events.
Pretty much. And
Yeah.
it's the chapter is called the commentary on the 11th chapter of the Revelation of John,
Mm-hmm.
and which is Revelations as we know it. from the Christian faith. It's Revelations, and he's talking about.
No, go ahead.
Go
Go ahead. Okay. Well, it's just that I don't know. I feel bad because I got ready to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, please.
Okay. Well, in this chapter, the general message is that, again, based on prophecy, we are living in the times when prophecy is being fulfilled. And it is basically uh, I don't want to say the death of, of the previous dispensation. That probably isn't the best way to describe it.
Well, that's kind of the way he describes it here.
Okay, maybe it's
It-
okay then. If
It's the death of the previous dispensations, but those dispensations have not gone away. He calls them shells. Now they are actually shells. The
yes.
the spirit of the dispensation is gone, but the shell still exists.
And for anyone who doesn't
So
know, that word dispensation means basically it's a new revelation. And think of the dispensing, and this is my words, this is just my way of understanding the dispensing of new guidance from God. Okay, dispensation kind of runs along with revelation. Okay, and again, I want to emphasize we have no authority. That's just my own way of helping myself understand it. Hopefully, it helps you. But yeah, what we're being told by Abdul Bayer is, whatever all of the following of that guidance, the religion that sprung up from it is now dead. The spirit is no longer there. The outer shell is still there, you know, and there are some people obviously who do still follow the teachings of that faith and so forth and so on, and this happens to every dispensation, which of course necessitates the need for a renewal. Necessitates the
absolutely.
need for a renewal, and so we are in a time of renewal. It might not look like it, but yeah, I mean, Daryl. Again, I'm going on too much as much as I
Well,
often
where
do.
where we are in this particular chapter, he is speaking most specifically about Islam
Okay.
and about how Islam has changed and the
Yeah, yeah,
character
yeah.
of the religion has
Okay, and
changed.
I'm just going to read that last sentence from that last paragraph we read last week. Their bodies, in quotes, their bodies refers to the religion of God, which remained as a dead and soulless body. I'm shutting up.
Okay. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put into graves. As was already explained in the terminology of the sacred scriptures, 3 days and a half signifies 3 years and a half, and 3 years and a half represents 42 months, and 42 months, 1,260 days. Since, according to the explicit text of the Bible, each day is equivalent to a year. This means that for 1,260 years, which is the duration of the Quranic dispensation, the nations, tribes, and peoples would behold their bodies. That is, they would keep their religion of God before their eyes, but not act in accordance with it. Yet they would not suffer these bodies, the religion of God, to be laid to rest in the grave. That is, they would hold fast to its outward form and not let it entirely vanish from their midst, not allow the body to be wholly destroyed and annihilated. Rather, they would forsake its reality while outwardly preserving its name and remembrance. This is what he's saying. The spirit of the body of the religion is gone, but people have not released the religion. It's still around.
Mhm.
That which is intended here are such kindreds, peoples, and nations as were gathered beneath the shadow of the Quran. These are they who would not allow the cause and religion of God to be destroyed and annihilated outwardly as well. Thus, some manner of prayer and fasting is practiced among them, but the very foundations of the religion of God, which are goodly character, upright conduct, and the knowledge of the divine mysteries, had disappeared. The light of human virtues, which proceeds from the love and knowledge of God, had been extinguished. The darkness of oppression and tyranny, of carnal desires and satanic attributes prevailed, and the body of the religion of God, like unto a corpse, was exposed to public view.
Mm.
For 1260 days, each day being a year, that is, for the duration of the Islamic dispensation, all that these two persons had established as the foundations of the religion of God was forfeited by their followers. To such an extent were the traces of human virtues, which are the bestowals of God and which constituted the spirit of this religion, erased that truthfulness, justice, love, concord, purity, sanctity, detachment, and all the heavenly attributes vanished from their midst, and what remained of the religion was mere prayer and fasting.
Mm.
This condition lasted for 1260 years, which corresponds to the dispensation of the Quran. It was as though these two persons had died and their bodies were left without a soul. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts to one another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. By them that dwelt on the earth is meant other peoples and nations, such as those of Europe and distant Asian lands, who, seeing that the character of Islam had entirely changed, that the religion of God had been forsaken, that virtue, decency, and honor had vanished, that the characters had been subverted, rejoiced that the morals of Muslims had been corrupted, and that they stood therefore to be vanquished by other nations. And this indeed came to pass in a most conspicuous manner. Witness how this people who once wielded supreme power have been abased and subjugated.
Mm.
The other nations shall send gifts to one another, meaning that they would help each other. For these two prophets tormented them that dwelt upon the earth. That is, they subdued and subjugated the other peoples and nations of the earth. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. 3 days and a half, as we explained earlier, is 1260 years. These two persons, whose bodies were lying soulless, that is, the teachings and the religion of Muhammad, the religion that Muhammad had established and that Ali had promoted, whose reality had vanished, and of which only an empty form had remained, were again endowed with spirit. That is, the spirituality of the religion of God that had become materially, let me back up. That is, the spirituality of the religion of God that had become materially
Materiality. That's what it
material, excuse me, materiality. The virtues had become vices, the love of God had become hatred, the light that had become darkness, the divine qualities that had become satanic attributes, the justice that had become tyranny, the mercy that had become malice, the sincerity that had become hypocrisy, the guidance that had become error, the purity that had become carnality. All these divine teachings, heavenly virtues and perfections, and spiritual bounties were, after 3.5 days, which by the terminology of the sacred scriptures is 1260 years, renewed by the advent of the Bab and by the allegiance of Qudus.
Mm.
This is saying that the dispensation of Islam has ended and is starting with anew with the revelation of the Bab. With the new dispensation begins with the Bab.
You know, Daryl, as I'm listening to you read, and I'm doing other stuff here, I got to admit, but I have to wonder how this affects people who might be devout about their faith from a previous dispensation. And to read something like this, it's got to hurt some, I would think. Not just me, I'm just talking, but this is me. I mean, the spirituality of the religion of God that had become materiality, the virtues that had become vices, the love of God that had become hatred, the light that had become darkness, the divine qualities that had become satanic attributes, the justice that had become tyranny, and so forth and so on. I don't know. I don't know. And don't get me wrong, there's no question here. I'm trying to formulate a thought that isn't real, I don't think, coming together. But it does. I think about, okay, if this happens, okay, he's speaking specifically about the Quranic Islamic dispensation,
Yes.
because that led into the Babi and Baha'i dispensation. Okay, but again, I think about how it must have some kind of an effect on those people who might read something like this or hear a message like this and think, well, that doesn't apply to me.
Wonder,
Yes,
I wonder if I can just interject something.
I would love if you would, Sue, please.
Because in other places he talked about Islam being the greatest, and when he talked about Muhammad being, the true educator,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and the Renaissance was touched by Islam. I mean, Islam was not dead, but maybe the religious leaders following not Muhammad and Ali, but following, who was it they followed instead? Anyway, somebody, I can't remember the name, but they were the ones who were not teaching the true religion. The true religion was always there. The shell wasn't just a shell. Anybody who turned to that got that. And a lot of people did,
Yeah.
There's a lot of good in Islam, a whole lot.
And I guess we have to remember that, at least, again, this is just my thought. Abdul Baha is speaking here, I would assume, on a global scale. I don't know. I'm taking great liberties by assuming that, but on a vast scale. Let's just say that, whether we can say global or not. But on a vast scale, we're even within that, that shell, if you will still find devout practitioners of that faith. And yet, again,
but he's just talking really about that passage from Revelation.
oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
You can look at, whenever you look at a quote, it's good to, or something like this, a passage, it's good to look at it in context of everything else that has been said.
I appreciate
you
reminding me of that, because I have a terrible habit of, we're told not to see everything as literal. I will go literal far too often. And a lot of times my interpretation on a personal level is far more limited than it should be. So thank you very much.
It's just one piece of the puzzle. And one piece can show one thing, but when you put it together with all the others, it shows something else.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Mind if I say something real quick?
Please.
Sure.
Yeah, I think what she's referring to is the division that happened between the Sunnis and the Shiites.
Exactly.
Okay, the Sunnis, I forget the guy's name, but he said
Me too.
at Muhammad's deathbed, he said that, okay, we don't need your interpretation. We'll take the Quran and we'll use it ourselves. But Muhammad had proposed his son-in-law be the first imam. And that's basically where the first division in Islam happened, or the first schism. And, that caused the confusion between the Sunnis and the Shiites in the historical perspective, from the death of Muhammad to the advent of the Bab.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's basic
exactly right.
Yeah.
I needed that.
Thank you. We don't always get the historical perspective, so that's important.
I
Thank
don't.
you,
I'll admit I'm very
both
much
of you.
lacking in that. And so that means that no matter where you are on the face of the earth, you have to keep coming back every Sunday. Okay.
To go on. Thus did the breezes of sanctity waft, the light of truth shine, the life giving springtime arrive. We're talking about the advent of the Bob now,
Mhm.
and the morn of guidance dawn. These two dead bodies were once again quickened to life, and these two great personages, one the founder and the other the promoter, arose as two candlesticks, for they illumined the whole world with the light of truth.
Ah, you think that'd be a good place to stop? I
Good.
don't know. I'm
Yeah.
looking at time.
Yeah.
I'm looking at time. Okay. There's something we need to announce. We just had a friend, a local member of the Baha'i community by the name of Laurie Bullock Sullivan, who just passed away overnight after a battle with cancer. Some of you locally may have known Laurie, and so our heart goes out to her family and to those of you who, again, personally knew and loved her, and even those of you who might not have. We ask that you please send up prayers for her soul as she transitions into the spiritual realm. And this song expresses the Baha'i, what we've been taught by Baha'u'llah is the Baha'i view of death. This life we share has good and evil too. Sometimes there's tears and sometimes laughter. Something to learn for everything you do. The soul you are is forever after. The soul goes on. The soul goes on. The soul goes on. The soul goes on. You won't be here forever. One day you'll have to go. From here to there, you're just switching places. Leaving the physical and go into the spiritual. You'll get there and you'll see familiar faces. The soul goes on. The soul goes on. The soul goes on. The soul goes on. Don't know what heaven's like. Don't need to know. Whatever it is, you'll see when you get there. Everybody's got some seed, we all just need to sow. Do what good you can now, don't just sit there. The soul goes on. The soul goes on. The soul goes on. The soul goes on. God tells us death is a messenger of joy. He says you got no need to grieve. Your last day here on earth is the first in the Abha kingdom, when the prison of the body sets the spirit free. God gave you life and man gave you a name. How you lived and learned is all you got. Let virtue be your wealth and love all just the same. Don't let this time be all for naught. The soul goes on. The soul goes on. The soul goes on. The soul goes on. 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 Ah,
Tony, if you don't mind, I just wanted to mention something. We need to separate revelation, which is Islamic revelation that came from Muhammad, from religion of Islam. These are two separate things. So although religion of Islam is dead, as you mentioned, but revelation of Islam is not. So interpretation, right? So yeah. Sorry.
that is an important distinction to make.
Right.
Again, Gilbert, thank you so much. We're
Thank
so
you.
glad you're here, and thank you for pointing that out. And this is why we need this. We need this level of. We're doing what we can.
Right.
We don't claim to be, spiritual guides or experts on religion or theologians. Even we are practitioners of the Baha'i faith, doing the best that we can, doing what we can to follow the mandate of teaching the faith. But when we get this input from other people who are deepened, it is so helpful.
I love it.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
for the
So thank
feedback.
you so much. Thank you. And this is the part where I usually start reading, but
Yes.
thus did the breezes of sanctity waft, or you went further than that?
Yes. The next page.
Okay.
Paragraph 30.
Okay. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, meaning that from the invisible heaven they heard the voice of God saying, You have accomplished all that was called for with regard to educating the people and conveying the glad tidings of that which is to come. You have delivered my message to the people, raised the call of truth, and fulfilled your every obligation. Now, even as Christ, you must lay down your lives in the path of the beloved and suffer a martyr's death. And so, that sun of reality and that moon of guidance both set, Christ-like, beneath the horizon of the supreme sacrifice and ascended to the realm of heaven. And their enemies beheld them. That is, many of their enemies realized after their martyrdom the sublimity of their station and the excellence of their virtues and testified to their greatness and their perfections. I do want to remind everyone, we pointed this out last week, but the way this is set up is we're actually reading quotes from Abdu'l-Baha, and then there's that I should say quotes from the holy texts, and then Abdu'l-Baha gives that explanation. And so that quote, and their enemies beheld them, followed by that explanation. Their enemies realized after their martyrdom the sublimity of their station. Next quote. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake was slain of men 7,000. Unquote. This earthquake occurred in Shiraz, let me turn the page here, occurred in Shiraz after the martyrdom of the Bab, which in of itself is an amazing story. I'll just say that. The city was plunged into turmoil and many people were killed. Great agitation ensued, moreover, from diseases, cholera, scarcity, famine, starvation, and other afflictions, an agitation the like of which had never before been witnessed. And the remnant was affrighted. Next quote, and the remnant was affrighted.
Were affrighted.
Oh, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the God of heaven. Unquote. Explanation. When the earthquake took place in Fars, the survivors were wailing and lamenting day and night and were occupied with praising and imploring God. So great was their fear and agitation that at night they could find no rest or composure. Next quote. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Unquote. The first woe was the advent of the apostle of God, Muhammad, the son of Abdullah, peace be unto him. The second was that of the Bab, upon him be glory and praise. The third woe is the great day of the advent of the Lord of hosts and the revelation of the promised beauty, beauty capitalized. The explanation of this matter is provided in the 30th chapter of Ezekiel, which is said, quote, the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus saith the Lord God, howl ye, woe worth the day, for the day is near, even the day of the Lord is near. Unquote. It is therefore evident then that the day of woe is the day of the Lord. For in that day, woe is upon the heedless, the sinners, and the ignorant. That is why it is said, quote, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Unquote. This third woe is the day of the manifestation of Baha'u'llah, the day of God. And it is near to the day of the appearance of the Bab. And with that being said, we're going to stop there.
Yeah, it's a good starting place for next week.
I certainly feel the same. Yes, we're going to go ahead and stop there. And at this time, anyone who would like to offer up a prayer or reading at this time, this is that time. I don't think Andy's in the room, in the Zoom room,
I
is he?
haven't seen him today.
No, I don't think Andy's with us today, so we won't be having our Andy Murphy moment. But anyone who would like to offer up a prayer or reading at this time, this is that time. So please do feel free to share.
I'm going to say a prayer for the departed. For your friend.
Please.
Thank you.
O my God, forgiver of sins and dispeller of afflictions, O thou who art the pardoner, the merciful, I raise my suppliant hand to thee, tearfully beseeching the port of thy divine essence to forgive, though thy grace and clemency, thy handmaiden who hath ascended into the seat of truth. Cause her, O Lord, to be overshadowed by the clouds of thy bounty and favor. Immerse her in the ocean of thy forgiveness and pardon, and enable her to enter the sanctified abode, thy heavenly paradise. Thou art verily the mighty, the compassionate, the generous, the merciful. Abdul Baha.
Thank you, Terry. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
I have wakened in thy shelter, O my God, and it becometh him that seeketh thy shelter to abide within the sanctuary of thy protection and the stronghold of thy defense. Illumine my inner being, O my Lord, with the day springs of
The splendors of the day springs.
with the splendors of the day springs of thy revelation, even as thou didst illumine my outer being with the morning lights of thy favor.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Is there anyone else who'd like to share?
There another prayer for the departed.
Please.
O my God, verily thy servant, humble before the majesty of thy divine supremacy, lowly at the door of thy oneness, hath believed in thee and in thy verses, testified to thy word, hath been enkindled with the fire of thy love, hath been immersed in the depths of the oceans of thy knowledge, hath been attracted by thy breezes, hath relied upon thee, heard his face unto thee, offered his supplications to thee, and hath been assured of thy pardon and forgiveness. He hath abandoned this mortal life and hath flown to the kingdom of immortality, yearning for the favor of meeting thee. O Lord, glorify his station, shelter him under the pavilion of thy supreme mercy, cause him to enter thy glorious paradise, and perpetuate his existence in thine exalted rose garden, that he may plunge into the sea of light in the world of mysteries. Verily, thou art too generous, forgiver, and the bestower.
Thank you, Sue. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
If I may, I don't have a prayer. Give me 1 second.
Please.
So I don't have a prayer specifically.
You have two images up. You need to.
Yeah, I took the other one out.
Thank you.
So Anthony mentioned something earlier. Is it okay if I just make a comment on something that I found really interesting rather than the
Please.
prayer this time?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think you said something really interesting, and that's in regards to how some people from other faiths may feel when they read some of these notations that essentially I don't want to say they're talking bad about or dismissing, but more so just shedding more light on what they thought was the end all says all. And recently, I've been speaking with a brother from Morocco who was raised in the Muslim faith, and he had a lot of questions. So I'm glad somebody mentioned what they did about the revelations and the prophecy, and they answered some of my questions about more books that I could refer to him. But it had me thinking the same thing that you did. Like, I wonder if I could even share some of these things, because in some of the books that we read, it basically says that there's misinterpretations in the prophecies and things like that, and that could take a big ego hit. And so I thought, like, is this appropriate for me to share? How do I share this?
There's an easy thing you can refer to from Baha'u'llah's Kitab-i-Iqan. So I recommend you take a look at this tool called oceanlibrary.com, Ocean 2.0 Interfaith Reader, and literally make the filter limited to the Kitab-i-Iqan by Baha'u'llah. When you're going through, limit the filter setting just to the Iqan. And there's a lot between Muslims and Jews in the current society. And specifically speaking to the books of the Jews, Baha'u'llah in the Kitab-i-Iqan talks about corrupting the book.
Yes.
And he speaks on the subject that the corruption that a lot of people commonly claim never occurred. Specifically speaking, the misinterpretation of the ulama, the supposed learned, the ilm meaning knowledge, the supposed ulama, the people who are supposed to know everything and the ones that everyone refers to when they're going to ask what the book means. These people came in and they destroyed the meanings. So to be putting it bluntly, you can go through what Muhammad says, which is what's attributed to him through divine inspiration, of course, this idea of corrupting the book that everyone has. Go to
That's what I was getting
Baha'u'llah.
to.
Yes, go to Baha'u'llah, go to the Kitab-i-Iqan. There's 2 paragraphs. The source will tell you exactly what you need. In this case, he gives an example. He gives an example of the punishment for adultery and what the Jews did and what the law in the Pentateuch, what the law in the Jewish revelation provides, and what the learned of the Jewish revelation actually did. In that context, that was perverting what the text says and not doing what the text says.
Yes.
And that is an example of corrupting something when you misinterpret and say something false. And likewise, Baha'u'llah uses that same piece, that same point of misinterpretation, and he says that the same about the Muslim divines who are doing the same thing today.
The
So
Sheikh says, yeah.
yeah, so allowing that explanation using progressive revelation, where the Muslims recognize the revelation of Moses, they recognize the revelation in the Jewish dispensations, all this that has happened. They also will recognize that in their own world, that their own ulama are not necessarily telling them what the book says, what the Quran clearly says, which you can read with them, rather than
Well,
listen
exactly.
to some misinterpretation.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
going to jump
actually
in
what
here if
brought
you
us
don't
to.
mind.
Hey,
I'm going to jump in here if you don't mind. I love this, but unfortunately, we don't have much time. I feel like we need to have, because the thing is, there's another program that follows this, and so we're only given
right.
55 minutes exactly, and we're running out of time. I wonder if we should have an set up. I'm saying this more facetiously than anything else. An after Zoom, you
Maybe.
know, to get together and go and delve a little deeper in this. But the good thing is that they can continue to communicate through the chat, and they can, of course,
Absolutely.
exchange their personal information to be able to continue this. But thank you for asking that question, and thank you,
Please.
John, for your insights, and everyone else
Absolutely.
that gave some information regarding that. And having said all that, I'm going to take some personal liberties. Olga, you remember Olga?
Yes.
Who sometimes is Helga, but she says she's just having a little fun. Her real name is Olga. You know, she asked us about perception, and as it related to no, she didn't ask us about perception. She asked us about the self. How are we to
Right.
perceive the self? And I was thinking about that and thinking about it. Couldn't sleep last night, and I actually responded to her through Facebook Messenger, and she responded back. And along with what she responded, she told me about taking magnesium so I'd be able to sleep better. Um, but that whole thing, it got me thinking about perception, the perception of the self. What is the self as it relates to trying to follow the teachings and the guidance of God? And that's a whole nother topic, I will admit, but it's something that I'd like us all to think about. You know, I couldn't help thinking about the fact that, or some of the writings where, you know, thou art my lamp and my light is in thee, O son of spirit, thou art my lamp and my light is in thee. Get thou from it thy radiance and seek none other than me. So when we're thinking about the self, we have to think about God within
us.
Yes. You know, and so as we are going on our spiritual walk, if we are searching for self, that is almost synonymous to me with searching for the presence of God within us. And it's there. It's there. You can cover it up, you can block it, but it's there. So, and again, there's another place where he says, I created you rich. Wherefore dost thou abase thyself? Why are you putting yourself down so low when I created you rich? You know, spiritually rich. Okay, and we could go on and on and on. Again, we don't really have time, but it's just that I wanted to at least briefly address what Olga was talking about, because it's important. We're going to be talking about the self. There's a very selfish way to talk about the self, and there's a way to consider the self as it relates to our fellow man and to the God that we believe in, that is giving us guidance through his manifestations. And as we walk this spiritual walk, we have to be looking at it. Or yeah, I think it's a good idea. I don't want to put out mandates. It's a good idea to be thinking of it in that way. I'm sure I'll address it some more some other time when we have more time. But one thing we always like to point out, wait a minute, someone's going to say something, I thought. Okay, no. We always like to point out that this is a group effort, okay, a multi-community effort. And so it's not just us. And we always appreciate it when people come in through the Zoom. If you're interested in joining the Zoom, you can go to clearwaterbahais.org, clearwaterbahais.org. There's a little place where you'd have to sign up and so forth. But yeah, you can come through that way. Or as some people do, you can see it through Facebook. But I will admit, I know that Facebook has some issues. Sometimes it's hard for some people to, you know, sometimes I thought the technology was phenomenal, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes
limited.
it's sketchy,
Yeah.
and we're doing the best we can. But there are some sources that anyone who wants to know more about the Baha'i faith, whether you are already a Baha'i or are interested in, there you go, or are
And those
interested in learning
sources
more about the
are
faith. There you go.
www.baha'i.org, www.baha'i.us, www.bahaiteachings.org, or locally www.clearwaterbaha'is.org. And also, one of the another reference that you might use is the one that John brought up called Ocean
Mhm.
Library, and that you'll find there writings from most of the predominant religions of today.
Yes,
So,
yes. So thank you for,
and it's fairly comprehensive. You can type in a word on any subject, and it will review and pull excerpts from all of those writings. So, if you have something specific that you want to talk about or research, it's a great resource.
yes, it certainly is. And I think I'm going to have to do without the drum today. I have it already set up. And I think there's another thing you want to say, isn't there, Daryl?
The only other thing I want to say is if you happen to be one of those people in this world who is loved, you are incredibly blessed. And the one thing that you can do to improve conditions, not just in your world, but in the world in general, is to share that love. And that's the only thing I'm going to ask of you is that you do that. Share that love. Thank you all for joining us. Allow Akbar.
O people of justice, be as brilliant as the light and as splendid as the fire that blazed in the burning bush. The brightness of the fire of your love will no doubt fuse and unify the contending peoples and kindreds of the earth. Whilst the fierceness of the flame of enmity and hatred cannot but result in strife and ruin. We beseech God that he may shield his creatures from the evil designs of his enemies. He verily hath power over all things. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let it be world embracing. Watch over yourselves, for the evil one is lying in wait, ready to entrap you. Gird yourselves against his wicked devices, and led by the light of the name of the all-seeing God, make your escape from the darkness that surroundeth you. Let your vision be world-embracing, rather than confined to your own self. These are the words of Baha'u'llah. Let it be world-embracing. Let your vision be world-embracing. Let your vision be world-embracing. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be world embracing. Let it be world embracing. Let it be world embracing. Thank you for coming again, folks. Salawa pa. Enjoy the rest of your week. And you overdid it on carbs if you're here in the States or anywhere where they're celebrating Thanksgiving. So cut back some today.